Hi, I'm Edward Yang. I'm the writer and director of the film, and this is the first time I do this to make comments while watching this film with you. And this is a story about a family, simply. And the reason I decided to make a film about a family is because I feel it's a very good place to watch, because within the family you find different characters and with a different age group, and then we can have a good view of life, since every age is represented by one of the family members. So we start with a happy occasion, like especially for Chinese culture. In Chinese culture, the wedding is always the happiest moments. The whole family share. So at the beginning it's peaceful and nice and harmonious and beautiful, maybe. Then I think for every one of us, there's another side of life which is it's not so. It's not what it seems. So this is the first moment that you might notice something's wrong.
婷婷，啊，你今天好漂亮啊！婆婆嘞？啊，嗯。伯母，伯母，我对不起您，伯母，我对不起您。本来今天应该是我来教您第一声嘛。
云，哎，云，你来。
你想最疼我好惭愧。
我们过来这边，我们来这边谈。
我心里好难过，是我不够好，是我不够好，不，你不要催我。
事情没那么复杂啦，事情哪能复杂呢？
那个女的嘞，我肚子这么大，好不好意思啦？自重一点嘛。
The actor here, named Ang he actually is one of the most famous screenwriters in Taiwan, and also he's a film director himself, and a very close friend of mine. And in my view, he's one of the best actors also, but he rarely acts. Yeah, the Chinese title Yi, which the two horizontal characters, basically is the simplest I can find, because that's on the first page of every dictionary, the first phrase of every dictionary, and it means individually in Chinese. And basically, after you've seen the film, and then you realize that actually the film's about a lot of individuals interact with one another. And I used a lot of universal elements, for instance, like the surveillance camera, which is all over the place, every city, every building, and lots of the universal elements that we all share nowadays in city life, and which Taipei, where I live, is no different. And I would rather start with something universal, and then we work into the differences we all have, and that I think to me is much more meaningful and much more interesting.
这是我婆婆，
婆婆好，
我们家姓简。
那待会见哦，拜拜。
Interesting. What's interesting about this grandma and granddaughter? Grandma is a very, very experienced actress. This lady, she's very, very respected, and the granddaughter actually is a first timer. She's never acted before, and I happened to notice her talent in a workshop, which I gave just to audition for actors for this film, because this film requires all kinds of actors in different age group, and which in a place like Taiwan, simply we don't have as large a actor pool to select the actors from. So the girl was I originally wrote the character as a 15-year-old, and still in the film she's still a 15-year-old, but the actress herself at the time was not even 13, but her talent was just I was so impressed by her talent that so I cast her as I took the risk, and it paid off.
我想看到你。
我会打电话给你啊。
打电话看不到你。
These two are all new faces. As you notice that the two apartments, I have to find real locations with two apartments side by side. I was lucky to find this location, which is next to a high-rise expressway, which makes the visual part of the film much more interesting. I was lucky, but it took a couple of months to find though.
婷婷，走喽！
哦，
你在想什么？
云阿姨好可怜哦。爸爸，如果艾迪舅舅不是坏人，那小燕阿姨一定有问题喽。
夫人这么说吧，是我们还没好好了解她。
我和婆婆一样，还是不太能接受她。
婆婆这么说吗？
没有，可是她一整天都很不开心。
她有说其他什么？
没有，她只是说她真的老了，我不懂她是什么意思。
Yeah, this is the way we Chinese celebrate wedding. Sometimes goes very crazy, and especially towards the end, everyone is drunk and.
你这个小舅子还挺有一套的，新娘肚子这么大了才想到请我们喝喜酒。
他就这种德性有什么办法？如果等今天日子可以等成大半年了，今天是今年唯一的一天，大吉大利，干什么都行。
Fortune telling and the almanac and all these supernatural things are we Chinese take them quite seriously, and especially for less confident people or people in taking a lot of risk. They always resort to these supernatural things to make themselves feel comfortable. So the groom, Adi, which is Mingming, which is the mother we were seeing right now, the mother's younger brother, and he's in his 30s, so he represents a group of in the Taiwan society which are trying their best to trying to succeed in the society.
酒了不喝，哎，不要替我那个小舅子省，真的。
The boy, this boy here, Yang Yang, he was it was written for a 10-year-old originally, and after I found him in the audition, and he was only 7. My casting director recommended him highly because he found him and recommended him for a TV commercial, but they turned him down, and the kid was pretty. He didn't feel it was fair, so he wanted a chance to prove to the world that he can do it. So he was really motivated when he showed up in the class of all the 10-year-olds, and he was only 7, and that impressed me a lot. So I took another chance. I cast him instead of the better ones in a 10-year-olds, and it turned out he's a really a smart kid. He was so smart. Within the week, he already, just by watching we work, he knew what filmmaking is about, and he was telling people what to do and so forth. He just I lucked out again. And this lady, it took me a while to cast because she has to speak English. She has to speak a number of languages, and also she has to be in a certain age, and because of the role, and then again, I couldn't find the one that fits this background. And fortunately, I realized the actress I used. The very first actress I used when I was when I first became director. This is almost 20 years ago, and that actress has moved to Vancouver. So I realized that. So I called her up, and so she was kind of semi-retired. So I said, come on back. I need someone like you to. And how are you doing? She said she hasn't been acting for a while, so I flew her back, and the first time I was the first time I was a director, it was also her first time as an actress, and because I found her in the lineup of going to an acting class. And I was pressed to cast for my made-for-TV movie, the first chance I had to be being a director. So I pointed her out, said to the producer. She looked the actress I was looking for. So the producer approached her. We gave her an audition, and she did quite well. So I cast her for my very first work. So it was also her very first work. I'm kind of glad that we got back together after 20 years. Now she lives in Vancouver.
我靠，今天什么好日子啊！我连我初恋情人是谁我都忘了，居然还记得你的。哎，我刚下楼了干什么？
This actor plays Dada, the tall guy. He's also not. He's enthusiast. He really wanted to become an actor. He actually is a very successful businessman, and he would do anything on stage or in film, and his dedication is to make him improve so quickly. So after a couple of years, he became a very capable actor, and this is I think this is the first major role that he had in a film, and he did quite well. I was quite pleased. This is what I mean by sometimes Chinese wedding banquets gets a little crazy, because everyone is drunk, and they try to invent things to get themselves more drunk. Yeah, the drink that they call a depth charge is pretty popular in China and Taiwan. It's a very macho thing. It's a big pitcher of beer mixed with wine and hard liquor and raw eggs, all kinds of stuff. They just throw them in there to just force you to drink it down, and then you really have to throw up. They just want to see how embarrassed you can get when you're in that shape. So that's the fun part of it.
婷婷啊，你看看后面的东西拿不拿得来啊？拿不来的话，告诉爸比，待会儿叫他上来再带上来。不要忘了那个包包哦。哎呦，你两个叫我再等来啦！去背，你妈妈你老公唔生去背呀啦！仔。
Several years ago, this is in the 80s, and when I first had the idea of this film, one of my friend's father was knocked over by a car and was in a coma, and after a few months staying in the hospital, doctors gave up and sent him home, and so I went visit him, and I heard the doctor telling the entire family to talk to the father, who is still unconscious, as a way of stimulating his senses, and in the hope that he may awake one of these days. So that was the very beginning of all the creative processes of the story. The guys running around in the background are my students. Back about 10 years ago, they're now pretty successful people in the theater and in the acting field. And whenever I have the need for them to help, I just call them up, and they really had a good time, and I'm really thankful for a whole bunch of my students whom I taught 10 years ago. They're all they're doing quite well, and I'm quite happy for them, and they all seem to enjoy themselves when we work together. And starting 10 years ago. In A Brighter Summer Day, which is a long feature I made back then. The two actresses here, Elaine on the left is a very well recognized actress in Taiwan and Hong Kong, and Nancy on the right, she's a very respected theater actress. I'm very glad that I had a chance to cast Elaine again. We've been working together since Brighter Summer Day, which is in 1990, and every film I've made since then, she has either major or minor roles in it, and I really enjoy working with her. And she also, I think, she feels very comfortable working with me, and we can see from the film later on, and some of the scenes she did was just remarkable. All these kids are non-professionals, and it's a lot of fun working with them, because you earn their trust, and then after they trust you, they do a lot of things, and sometimes the things they do is beyond your imagination. There's just so many possibilities, and once you found the new possibilities, just makes everybody happy.
谁是她老公啊？
今天是谁带了不该带的东西到学校来啊？啊？谁带保险套到学校来玩的？自己站起来！
I didn't realize all these kids actually they all are acting until I saw the rushes, because during shooting I only focused my attention on Yang Yang, and after I watched the rushes, I realized every little kid in the shot was acting, and they did quite marvelously.
你还跟我耍赖，同学全部都告诉我了。
不是我啊，是谁跟你乱说？
这你管不着。
您只是听别人乱说，没有自己看见。
哎呦，呵呵，你现在怪我了啊？你挺会说话的嘛。你以为主任没看见的事情，主任就不应该知道了啊？我连你放在哪个口袋我都知道了。左手边的口袋，过来。
The actor here, the grown-up actor here, is also one of my students, and he's and also a very good friend, and we play basketball together, and he's all and we had a lot of understanding, and so it's very easy to work with. So every time I had need their help, I just call them up, and they're just happy to show up, and we had a good time. ，Adrian, this girl played this character. She's also. It took me a few weeks to find her to cast for the role Lily. If you've seen the film, you probably realize that Lily is not really what you think is a nice girl. But I didn't want to cast someone who, on the outside you can tell that she's something wrong with her. So she had to be on the outside. She had to be quite normal, so to speak.
小妈妈好。
咋啊咋？你都北一年，好难考哎，你好厉害哦。
没有啦，丽丽也很棒啊，每天听到她弹琴，好好听哦。
我真怕她会吵到你们。你会学琴啊？
有，可是弹得不好。
那有什么关系？只要书读得好就好啦。
有什么用？有什么用啊？
This is very much my old profession. Before I became a filmmaker, I was in Seattle working in the high tech field, and all of my schoolmates now, and also the coworkers now, they're all running those name brands now in the high tech field, and. This is pretty much the reason I wrote the story with NJ, the main character's profession in the high-tech profession, is because that pretty much represents the reality of Taiwan at the moment. In Taiwan now, is everything high-tech computer or silicon, they call it. And I think that the most recent recent name they want to give Taiwan is the Silicon Island. Yeah, to me, after working in high tech and also in the film business and in the creative fields, and I pretty much can see the gap between the humanity field and also the technology, and it looks to me that it's still gonna takes a while before the two sides can make contact of some meaningful sort.
名牌哦，到时候成本增加，赔钱谁倒霉啊？那金主还不是怪在我们头上？我不赞成。
One of the things in the visual part of the film, as you can see right now, is about reflections, which I think most of the filmmakers would like to avoid these sudden reflections because that's not easy to control. But in this film, after I shot it for a while, I realized that in the city environment, just reflections is everywhere because the material of glass is used everywhere. And it suddenly dawned on me that actually it extends the visual part of the film in a very interesting way because at the same time, the viewer can see more than just one space that the camera is pointing at. So pretty soon we began to have fun playing with the reflections and then we worked the reflections into the narratives and so pretty soon we can use the reflection to simultaneously give the visual part more than just one space, which to me is quite interesting.
我真没想到你能这么想得开。
废话少说，有些东西交代你。
靠，婚礼的时候你来闹，把大家都吓坏了，你知道吗？
还说嘞，哎，你不要再给我机会批评你老婆了，好不好啊？来看这里。
So the 30-something in Taiwan, I think probably is true everywhere in the urban environment. They really want to go. They really want to go. They really want to reach success in a very hopefully very short term, and they don't want to spend time and they want to just get rich quick, and so a lot of the comic part of the story is trying to portray that part of the society which is common in many places. This is one of just to remind that Taipei was the city was built by the Japanese in the beginning, large part. And the scene we just saw was very Japanese neighborhood, which was built about 80, 90 years ago, and which is still existing right now. And pretty soon, because later on, if you've seen the film, you know that the film will travel to Japan. And basically, to me, as a guy who grew up in Taipei, traveling to Japan is very much like going back into the past. Whereas these expressways or those are motifs of the new era. NJ, this Jan's family's apartment, I deliberately decorated with a lot of stuff packed into it. Just like it's like crowded with the things they didn't know whether they should throw away or not. So the whole apartment is packed with stuff. Now this is what I said earlier about the doctor. Try to talk the family into talking to the grandmother.
不过你可以把它当作正常人一样，早上打开窗子，可以的话推他出去走一走，晚上按时关灯睡觉。最重要的是常 常常跟他说话，这样可以刺激他的知觉。不过我也不是很乐观，因为我年纪大了。
This is one of the shots I really like for the film. It's very sensitive. Kelly plays the daughter. She's so sensitive, the touch and everything. Sometimes you don't need a lot of actions to say a lot of things. Yeah, women in Chinese society are pretty tough. By the way, Kelly is also my wife's piano student. So when I shot this scene, she had to play the piano. So I asked her what did she learn the last week. She says Gershwin's "Summertime." So that you just play "Summertime." It works just quite well.
欠你的钱还没还你啊？给你。我忘了，你可以提醒我。
没有啦，我在想公司的事。
现金的物质啊，公司老问题哈。你们能不能再撑得过2个月？
还好啦，明天日本来开会，我是在想开会的事情。
操！你们欠钱欠到日本去了？
不是啦，我日本，哎呀，不是你是在讲啥？真正有影？不是啦。
雅雅，该你跟婆婆讲话啦。从今天开始，我们每一个人每一天呢，都要轮流找一点时间来跟。
This is one of the more demanding scenes of the kid Yang to act, and I think this is the second take of the total take of 8, and
可是他看不见。
可是婆婆听得到啊。
He did quite well in this take. Because later on, I think he felt he did okay, so he didn't work as hard, so that was the.
怎么了？怎么突然间不高兴了？不想跟妈妈讲啊？
It's quite amazing experience to work with actors this young. This is the first time for me. And I think they really have minds of their own, and they really I realize that they are always alert. They always know what they're doing, and that was really amazing thing. Really amazing experience.
你怎么可以一点都不关心他呢？啊？ 你怎么可以这样子呢？
好，来，洋洋，你先休息哈，出去，来，有球先啊，快，姐，我来了，该我吧。
I really don't have much for Miss Tang, who plays the grandmother. I really didn't have much for her to do except lying there and do nothing. But she did a good job, I think.
我最近很有钱。
And this actor here is also a very good student of mine, and he actually is a very good a production manager, and he worked in that capacity. And also, he really wanted to act, and he really wanted to act for nothing. But he's a very very good actor, and so
她是个好女孩啊，真的真的。
So he performed more than just one function in our organization. Other than he plays the role Adi, he's also on the production staff.
现在有问题你也不能问。
This take is very good, really. You can see the internal process of.
先到这里吧。你累了先休息啊。我准备，我明天。
And the intonation is quite interesting.
好了，今天就先讲到这里。好。
One of the things I told Kelly, who plays Tintin here, and also Jonathan, who plays Yang Yang, the little boy, one of the things me and my acting coach trying to do is first to build their confidence in us, and the second thing I think is also very important is the we tell them acting is not the most important thing of acting is actually being honest instead of faking. I think they at that young age I think they took this quite seriously. So and the results are quite remarkable. I'm very happy that we had this of what we've accomplished. I think in many ways after they have performed what they were asked to do, they also felt that the satisfaction, also the accomplishment, and that I think it's a very very good encouragement to the young actors that they will want to do even better the next time, which this entire experience is quite memorable.
基本上生物求生的反应呢，其实都一样。你不需要给它过多的养分，这样不见得会让它长得更好。有时候呢，你反而让它丧失进化的本能，这样它当然没有办法开花结果，对不对？好，我看有些同学呢，他连花苞都长不出来，为什么？
This class actually are high school's theater club. They volunteered to play in this scene.
他晚上都不睡觉，都在照顾他的小花。你们其他人都没有他这么用功，对不对？反而开成这个样子。
This is how I really feel about computer, because I was in computer this field. I was doing designing. I was doing this software and doing the hardware and leading a group of researchers and so forth, and exploring all the possibilities of using the technology and this is really how I really feel about high tech and computer. Because eventually computer has to merge somehow with humanity before they can really help humanity.
未来の傾向というのは必ずこうなるに間違いないんですけれども、
And it to me is quite discouraging just to see the application is still stayed at the level of computer games, which is only the concepts are already 20 years old. Only the graphics are improved or the 3D effects are improved, but conceptually it was still a 20-year-old concept.
这一定是未来的趋势。目前没有成功的例子可以提供模仿，各位自然会担心它的风险。不过，大会
So actually, these lines that we're hearing now are really the lines I really want to say myself.
对待有乐观的评价。我的报告完了，谢谢。
And a lot of my classmates, co-workers now are in very high positions in the high-tech fields in Taiwan, and also some are in the U.S. And I had conversations with them quite often because they know that I'm one of the rare guys who could cross the big divide, so to speak, between technology and humanity. And these are pretty much the summary of my feelings, exchanging ideas with them. And
我已经找到台湾一个专门抠笔大田，连公司老板都姓田，他叫自己小田。
田小没有关系，收的种的菜要多就行了。田小收的菜更少，那便宜有屁用？
哎，那你田大菜收不多，不是更穷？
我看我们不能就这样跟他签约，还是找个借口把他请回东京去，我们再来研究看怎么办。
怎么好意思？谁去跟他讲
？This Japanese actor, which we will see playing with the birds, he actually, this is his I think it's his very first film project, because in Japan he's a stand-up comedian. He's a one-man show guy. He's very, very famous in Japan for doing stand-up comedy all by himself, and he played all kinds of different characters and so forth. But in Japan, it's like you don't cross borders. It's like you don't cross into film acting, and I think film acting is one of the things he really wanted to try. And one of the producers introduced me to him, and he was really nervous because so the first meeting we had was he was so nervous I couldn't tell whether he can do it or not. But I looked at his tapes. I realized he's actually is quite creative and an artist in his own rights. So So I asked for another occasion to have dinner with him, and after a few drinks, he started to relax, and I realized he actually can speak a lot of English. So then I told him, it's quite all right for English too. So I decided to cast him because of that, and it turned out it was also another very right decision I made, which I felt I was quite lucky. And he turned out he was really amazing with all the lines I gave him, and also the preparation. He always ready when we start setting up and so forth. He was so quick, and we just had a really, really smooth time working with him. This is the very first scene Kelly did for the whole film, or in her life, and especially her. You can tell that what's the word? I think not pretentious. She really felt that the way that she should talk to the father and talk to the friends and so forth. This is a very refreshing experience for me as a director.
刚刚是我爸爸啦，他说他今天晚上不回来吃饭了。
I remember when we shot the first scene that Kelly played, the sound man, which is, in my opinion, is the best in Asia, Mr. Du. Mr. Du, he doesn't watch the monitor. He just listens. He focuses in the sound. And after the first take, she looked at me. He looked at me and he says, this girl, just by listening to her, is the right choice.
本 朋友在上海长宁区的那两套房子，我还准备安排你去。
Alan is a good friend. Whenever I need someone to small roles, I'll call him up. And if you've seen my earlier films, The Terrorizer, you'll remember him. He's the guy who gets killed by the young girl in the middle of the film. Actually, that apple is where she can hide behind. And also visually and psychologically, we can tell she's not comfortable with facing the fact that the mother bringing a new boyfriend. Yeah. So you can tell now that she's hiding behind it, the action of chewing on the apple. Yes.
来，我请客，好好带婷婷去看场电影。OK。
你这个女儿是个音乐家呀？
这不是我吹牛，他拿过好几次冠军了。
好多喜剧片哦，你想看哪一部？
This location is called Warner Village, which is the most successful Cineplex in Taiwan. One of the unofficial statistics shows that the annual growth of the Cineplexes counts for 60% of the annual growth of the entire movie business.
你知道我不会随便来找你的。
那你到老地方等我吧，好不好？
他那么瘦，为什么大家都叫他胖子啊？
大概小时候很胖吧？你怎么知道？
拜托，那天还不是靠我想一想，你好棒！
哎呀，我每次都。
The young man in the background, who were actually leading actors in my previous film titled Mahjong. And so you can see, when we make films in Taiwan, we're a lot of times it's just a lot of fun just to call them up if I need someone. I just call them up and said, you know, I need some extras. You want to join the fund? So they all just willing to come and have fun together. And this actor here, he's actually is quite well known in Hong Kong and Taiwan. He was leading role in many of Hong Kong's films, but he's a very good friend, a son of a very good friend of mine, and I watched him grew up, and we were very close. So he would do anything for me, so to speak.
Yes, we are very impressed. But you know, we think your proposal is very advanced. So my company need more time to...
You are like me.
When NJ, Mr. Wu, who plays NJ here, and Mr. Ogata, who plays Mr. Ota across the table here, when they're together, the chemistry is so good. I'm just so happy that I did the right thing, casting, and things go very, very, very smoothly working with these two actors whenever they have scenes together.
That is why I suggest to you we try a new way. It's okay. If we don't sign, I understand. Risk is high when you do anything for the first time. No problem. ただjust let me know when your company.
I think the idea of breaking new grounds or trying to do something for the very first time is quite essential, or quite simply the first thing that you have to look at if you want to be creative, because creativity actually basically means you do something no one's done before.
Strange. Why are we afraid of the first time? Every day in life is a first time. Every morning is new. We never live the same day twice. We never afraid of getting up every morning. Why? The great Leonard.
Ah, you know music very well.
When I was a little boy, my family was very poor. Music make me believe life is beautiful.
My father listens to music every day, but I hate his music.
So?
When I was 15, I fell in love. Suddenly, all of his music means something. Then she left. The music stayed with me.
She didn't like music?
I think music is like many other things. Once you share this love for a certain thing with another guy, the friendship just grows so quickly, and just suddenly you find it. You find yourself in another person, so to speak. So I talk a lot of music, talk a lot of basketball, talk a lot about films, talk a lot about all these fun things in life, I suppose, which you're not supposed to do when you're going to school. I don't know why Asians are all like to sing or like karaoke, and which is not as popular here in the States or in the European countries. I don't know why. Just part of the Asian culture, perhaps. We're just in the daytime we have to act like everyone else, but when you turn the lights off and when after a couple of drinks you begin to show, perhaps. This is a song in the 60s, made it to the top of the charts in the U.S., which is called Sukiyaki. Which is one of the most well-known songs, Japanese songs, all over, I suppose. By the way, the guy as a bartender is a casting director of this film. One of the best thing about Mr. Wu when he acts, because he understands what I what I need him to act so well. He understands what's behind it, everything behind the things he had to say, behind the psychology, behind the emotion, and so it makes he just that fast to work with him, and he also himself is a very expressive guy. I found this when I discussed scripts with him, and we worked together a number of times in the early 80s. My first feature film was we co-wrote the script together, and so I always thought he was one of the best actors in Taiwan. Simply he's not known for that. I hope this film establishes him as such, on top of his other accomplishments. Yeah, the tempo and the way that he did this scene is just basically proves what I believe. This is another amazing scene that I felt lucky because it's a very demanding scene on the part of Elaine, because the camera doesn't move. The camera just freezes on her, and all the attention's on her, and the duration of the scene, the shot is also quite long, and there are a number of things she had to remember to say, and amazingly she did it the first take, and that was the only take we did. And when after this is the take, which is really amazing. And after the take, she says, "Shall we do another one?" I said, "There's no need, because it's just I couldn't ask for anything better. It's just."
我每天像个傻子一样，我每天在干什么？
Yeah, I think you can really tell that it's really from within her, and that makes it even more moving, and I feel very lucky.
这样吧，明天我就叫慧玲每天读报纸给妈妈听，这样每天至少都有新的内容，好不好？
This is the first night scene we see of the location, which really has a lot of interesting visual effects on the glass the reflections on the windows and through the windows and so forth, and it just it's worth the time we took to find the place.
怎样？电梯来了。杨，你不可以这样看人家，这样很不礼貌。
Yeah, it's just one of the more interesting sequence involving the little boy.
你怎么知道他难过呢？
因为昨天晚上你不在家的时候，他们家吵架好大声哦，我在旁边都听得到。
哦，真的啊。
Somehow I found working with young actors that it's like no matter what they do, it seems right. So because they're so natural, so direct, so low pretension.
爸比，我们是不是只能知道一半的事情啊？
你在问什么？爸比听不懂。
我只能看到前面，看不到后面，这样不是就有一半的事情看不到了吗？
问题好像太多了哦。这样好，轮到我来问你，妈咪最近心情好像不好，对不对？这个礼拜天我们去哪里玩，让她开心一下，你来决定，好不好？嗯。
Yeah, this is another reflection shot, which we found very interesting. When we were shooting, I didn't notice that there was in the reflection there was a flashing red light at an intersection further down the street there, and on the big screen after I saw the rushes, it to me, it was just such a coincidence that it's like the heartbeat of the wife of NJ, and plus the image of the office and superimposed with this reflection of the city, it's just added that other dimension to the image, which otherwise would not be able. I wouldn't be able to I wouldn't be able to do any other way. Though sometimes that to me, I think I would talk to film students. Every time about really making films on location or real location, and it's there's just something magical is going to happen, because life, I think, is full of magic. We most of the time we have neglected in our daily consciousness, and once you're working on it and they begin to appear one at a time, that's one of the best experiences I had, I think, as a filmmaker. In this shot, actually, in the building, it doesn't go through the two sides of the elevators. I stop the camera here and splice it, so it makes it look like the little boy can walk, that there's another walkway that can walk to the other side.
你拍得到蚊子吗？爸爸说的，不然别人不相信。那不是我们家哦。
我知道，上次我就跟你妈妈谈过了，他们家好像有点奇怪哦。哎，你妈妈在不在家？怎么这么久都没有看到她呢？
this is another good use of the reflection, which previously we would most likely we would avoid a shot like this. And basically, this reflection actually economizes a lot of camera movements and a lot of other setups.
NJ 美国长途电话。Yeah, this is one of the other things. I think it's getting more and more common in lots of different cities or different countries or different societies. That I think the fast progress or advancements of economy or the way we work or the way we try to sustain the growth of economy and so forth, we often neglected one of the other important elements in life, which is the spiritual life, I think. And many societies I've visited, or just like my own, that a lot of people are sometimes caught by surprise that they just found themselves so empty, and that was sometimes a very scary moment, and so religious cults or sects or whatever, other than I think basically they're easy fixes or easy replacements or easy for a lot of people to find comfort. This is also a one-take cut at which Mr. Wu just did wonderfully. I remember that morning we started to work, and he just sat outside smoking all by himself, and he was looking at the dialogues or the monologues I wrote for him, and he understood everything I asked him to do. So he just let it soak in, and he said he's ready. So we started shooting, and that's just one take. I said, well, that's wonderful. So that we wrapped pretty early that morning.
But 也许杨洋说的对了，你比我们都活了这么久了，我们除了自己心里一大堆问题之外，有人告诉你什么事情呢？所以我想你应该不会怪杨洋吧？不会怪他说不来陪你。某些地方，他跟我蛮像的，真的蛮像的。
Yeah, we in Taiwan or I think also in Japan, there's a time after lunch we just have to take a nap. It's a nap time, and you're not allowed to do anything else but just taking a nap for 40 minutes or something.
等一下哈。
By the way, the voice here is mine.
请问您贵姓？好，我找一下哈。
Yeah, it's like big brothers watching you. I don't know whether it's actually it's quite interesting because women in Chinese society actually are maybe they don't have an official position, but basically they're quite forceful a lot of times in a lot of ways, and they had their position, and I think it's probably not that not that portrayed in
这就是艺术啊，这还挺花钱的哦。
艺术赚得了钱哦，赚钱拍那么多干嘛？我们就抓个神经病。对嘛？
来，大家看啊，想不到啊，他还是个大师啊啊！我们学校里难得一见的天才。
In a lot of ways, our films sometimes are a lot of people make comments of our films. Is what the dean was talking about Yang Yang's photos.
啊？不敢啊！不打你就给我一直罚站哦！瞪什么瞪？你还敢瞪？转过去面对墙壁！没大没小的，看你以后还敢不敢？
那天我先走了以后，后来好不好玩？瑞丽还没有回来吗？
A lot of these scenes are written after the location was found, and so, for instance, like underneath this overpass, was the writer, before you actually see the location, the writer has no way to arrange. The actions or the dialogues on that way. So when that location is decided and found, and that decides a lot of things.
是给你的。
So what I'm saying is like in a very professional, so-called professional way, or the mainstream studio way of filmmaking, it's like you have to have the script first, and everything goes with the script, and that sometimes just took away a lot of the possibilities later, more magical things that will happen when you just save yourself the room or the elbow room that you can move with, and so that's why I always leave about 30% of the things undecided purposely, just to go on the spot and then just to let the magic happen by itself. Sometimes it just turned out wonderful. And in a lot of ways, it saves money too. It's not like most of the producers think, oh, okay, the directors can never decide things and so forth, and it's a way to justify the cost. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it works even better for the producers, because once that magic shows up, you don't have to shoot so many days, or you don't have to prepare so much, and sometimes just right there, if you catch that moment, it's worth all the money. I wonder if you noticed that doorbell.
that doorbell is kind of funny because it's installed about perhaps in 9 of the 10 apartments in Taipei. It's just like birds call or something. It's just you don't find them anywhere else in the world.
是想过来看看你，如果说看家里有什么样的情况啊，我们可以到山上去跟敏敏说。
简先生，一般人平常都忽略到精神上的修炼，所以呢。 我相信你也很难感应你。
小杨，你怎么洗好澡不穿衣服啊？
所以呢，我们是非常的希望你可以来山上一起修炼。只要你心无杂念，神明是绝对是有求必应的，而且对简太太来说有很大的帮助。
我跟我太太其实都一样，好多事都需要别人帮忙。我在想说，如果每天都去找神明的话，她一定被我搞得很烦。我总觉得说。 如果哪天遇到一个真正的大麻烦，再去找他的话，说不定他对我的印象会比较好一点。只是，也许到现在为止，我还没碰到那种真正的大麻烦。
你的这样子看法呢
？This happened by accident.
恩姐，他们做善事是出于他们的自愿，可是他们很感谢。 大家给他们的鼓励。
好，这我懂。那个只是支票可以接受吗？
可以，麻烦吗？
你老婆交给我，你放心了。我走了。
啊，谢谢，多亏你这照顾。
你还客气什么了你？
谢谢。
拜拜。
你有没有300块啊？我身上1毛都没有。
One of the interesting thing about Taiwan's way or our way of doing business is a lot of things are still very traditional. For instance, loaning money, as this film is a portrait of this character Adi. It's like he and his friends seems to just. Exchanging loans all the time. That's all on a very private basis instead of some serious banking system that you have to go through. It contributed to one of the more flexible economy in Asia, which I think in a lot of ways that it helped the dynamism of Taiwan's economy, but at the same time, the sword is a double-edged sword. Sometimes you get hurt too, which I think that is the irony of Asian economy at the moment, which I don't know whether Western society is aware of such a practice. So in many ways, doing business, a lot of it in our society or the neighboring societies are
are more on it's based more on luck, so that's why it's very easy to get superstitious or psychologically heavily dependent on something supernatural. The actors plays the policeman here is another friend and student of mine. He himself is now an up-and-coming new film director, Mr. Chen Yuwen.
这些人动作还真快嘞，连不值钱的都要搬。
那这样我还剩多少钱呢？
我那边你没什么钱喽。
你不是说又赚了1000多？
哎，有时候也会赔的耶。
So basically, the whole story here basically paints a picture of Taiwan, and if anyone has a chance to live there for a year, you can get the same experience by watching this for 3 hours.
哎，过来，给你留个教训，以后别乱相信人。
妈的，人家挑剩的，我干你娘有屁用啊！
你在干嘛？还不去私立教室上课？不用你管。快点，快点，快点！
好。
主任好。
哎，你这件新衣服很可爱哦。我操你妈的，哪个小鬼给我！We
had to do this. This is a second take. We wanted the water bomb to land on top of the dean, right on top of his head. The first take was a little bit off, so we had to dry his clothes and dry the ground, dry everything, to do the second take.
他们的舞越跳越高，不知不觉地把自己就变成了小宾利，然后穿过云层，飞向地面。在这飞翔的过程里，小宾利在空中留下了正电，把自己变成负电。
赶快把门关起来！在那边干什么？
对立而又相吸的能量，
去前面找位置。
在小雨滴冲向地面的同时，不断累积，互相越来越不可抗拒。 终于在一个闪电的瞬间，正电和负电又激烈地结合在一起，这就是雷。我们地球一切的生命，应该就是闪电创造的。科学家们相信，4亿年前的一道闪电创造了第一个氨基酸，一切生命的最基本单位。这就是一切的开始。
We had to wait for the real rain because the fake rain that I tried many times before just don't look right, and we were very lucky that day that the rain just rained so hard it just it couldn't be more real. And when we shot the film last year, the weather pattern was just really strange, and I think something is probably something to do with the El Nino and La Nina and so forth. And just every time I wanted to shoot a rain scene, after we set up the camera, the rain stopped, and sometimes goes the other way. So sometimes I have to
I was thinking about changing the scene to, if it's a daylight scene, I should change it to a rain scene. Sometimes it just doesn't work the way it didn't work the way that we wanted. This is another scene where you simply one of the actions about this scene is you just simply cannot write when you write without working hands-on with a hands-on experience the situation. That this is what I mean, that the cello. Because the previous shot when we shot that cut when Lily pushed off his cello and the cello started to bounce around, and I suddenly realized that's a great way to add to the continuity if the cello fell and Tintin had to come to pick up the cello and witness what happened inside the apartment. So that's another thing I think the creativity or the hands-on working experience can help help shoot the film or help treat the film. So that's a 30% I left undecided and I would recommend every filmmakers to do if they realize what magic can happen sometimes out of totally unexpected way. Structurally, this is the middle of the entire structure of the story, is childbirth. So the story is stood up on three pillars. One in the beginning, the wedding ceremony, and at the end was the funeral, and in the middle is this childbirth. I guess those are the three major rituals in life, which is common to all culture. Yeah, I have to say something here about the way Chinese give names to a newborn baby, because unlike Western culture, you have set names like Tom or William or John or whatever. In Chinese, we just have to. It's almost like you have to kind of do a composition or something, and you have to give some meanings to the new life, and so you have to select the right words for the name. And pretty soon, I think, especially recently, people begin to get very, very superstitious, because I think perhaps in this society we begin to lack confidence in ourselves, and we begin to trust things more in supernatural ways and so forth. So that that automatically has affected names. So now every parent have to work on the names and give them to some master to evaluate whether it's a lucky name or unlucky name, and it's a big process now. It's a big deal now, and it just so not just that you have to give a meaningful name to the child, you have to give a lucky name, so the fate of the child is not affected by the name, and also the fate of the parents is not affected by the baby's name. So it sounds pretty silly altogether, but that's the way it is. So some of the comedies that we see in films or stories, basically, they most of the time they're quite real. In reality, they're actually much more comical and silly situations than we like, I guess. This actor here is a really talented comedian, but he's not a comedian. He's actually a very well-known administrator for in theater operations, and he just enjoyed the chance he had to have a chance to act, and so we really had a good time.
我跟你讲，你现在有没有去把他给我赶走？马上！
你这样讲就不对了。我说大。
The other actor standing in the background is also a very up-and-coming, very well-known actor now in Taiwan. He's also in my class. I really enjoyed working with him.
那我算老几？我算老几呀？
对了，我们要是开 BM 法律没有错，可是你也要有点风度。雨云是我们大家的老朋友，阿丽啊，我你梦你们小管着。你骂人讲什么？对你。
This is a fun scene to do, and we really had, and all the actors here are schoolmates, and they all in the class I taught 10 years ago, and they're all friends, and we just enjoy so much working together. This hilarious scene that everyone enjoyed themselves, and we really had a good time. And we just sort of improvise a lot of these things, and because they work so well together. We did it with this thing so very fast, and so we had a lot of fun, as you can see. This actor here is actually a very well-known Taiwanese actor whose career goes way back to when he was very young. They used to belong to a theater troupe that traveled the island and plays every little town that they can find a place, and just I happen to know his son, and who's also in my class, and I just really feel very fortunate to know these actors who are now retired, and they still enjoy so much of acting, and every time I had a chance I would call them up, and then we would have fun together.
有的时候你还是要帮他一下忙，为他服务一下。
He was telling me when in the old days, a lot of them don't even read, and what they do is they come to Taipei and watch some films from Japan or from Hong Kong or from the U.S., and then they will try to memorize all the plots and all the dialogues just
just in their heads, and they go back to their village and they started to tell people about what was said and what was played on screen, and they tried to remake those stories in their own way, which was very, very interesting.
这小的命还不错啊，日子过得还多才多姿哎，随时还有人服务哈。
有吧？我先洗个澡啦。好，那你看是不是喝几杯再走啊？
我不啊，拜托，我不塞车啊，我早点回家了。
One of the funny thing about this location, this location belongs to a friend. He's a very good friend of mine, and what's interesting was that the doorbell, whenever someone enters this apartment, and the doorbell will sound, and it sounds like someone's paging someone in a department store or in a public place. So that was one of the things I found comical about this location.
操！你衣服就这样给我乱丢啊！嘿，小心谢谢啊。好，乖，好，拜拜。哦，乖，不哭。酒喝瓶子也不丢啊！干。阿弟，啊！你搞什么？你洗澡水放着，你也不跟我打一声响啊你！我一大早回来，你还跟我生什么气啊？你王八蛋！阿弟。
This apartment also doesn't come through. I have to stop the camera here just to make it the Xiaoyan, the girl, can walk, makes it look like she can walk from the other side to this side.
在干嘛？你干嘛不开窗户了？你为什么不开窗户啊？你到底在干嘛啦？你干嘛不开窗户啊？你干嘛不开窗户嘛？ 你说啊，你干嘛不开窗户？你说啊！你为什么不开窗户啊？
平静。
我再也不敢跟你吵架了。
行了。
So the main theme of this couple of 30-something is really about insecurity of one's own existence, perhaps.
277375557。
这个公司嘛，公司靠你干嘛？
哎呀，到处打电话找你找不到，还好小秘书以为你小舅子抠机。
这么急啊？什么事啊？
这个人啊，他对我们想做的事情很有兴趣，不过他只有1个钟头时间，所以要快。
这个人是谁啊？我们想做的事情又是什么事啊？
上车吧。
等下又需要一个看起来很老实的人出面解决了，是不是？ 我靠，什么事情你们都决定好了才急着找我，干嘛呀？
都上车了嘛。
对呀，你就是喜欢上完车才补票嘛。
走吧，走。
事情很简单，黄董非常清楚。
This was shot on a very, very hot day. It's just everyone is just sweating. Like, the sun was burning.
我们这个大田老朋友，好多年了啊，对不对啊？
黄董昨天晚上跟总统府的人喝酒喝到天亮，现在精神不太好，所以你们要快。你们在这边等一下。
你赶快到日本签大田，什么条件都答应他了，明天就走，机票、旅馆我都。
So the people who enjoyed most of this working as a scene are the ladies in the pool because they're the only ones they can stay cool. It's really a hot day.
运动妇女保障名额的，看不出来吗？
NJ， 日本现在在放大假，我旅馆是订好了，但是飞机你中午要的那班班机一个位置也没有，我们机也没有用。不过我再试试看晚一点的班机到日本，可能要晚上，这样可以吗？
不啊，我跟上。
NJ， 而且国际长途电话，那人找你好几次，你都不在，他就挂掉了。
喂，嘿，啊，无用啊，都公司代志来我一直走咧。我明仔载要去日本呢。啊，哈拄好。你稍等，我问看卖，稍等下吼。我日本已经饭店啥物啊？
This green uniform that Tintin wears is one of the most famous uniform in Taiwan, which is the best girls' high school, the Taipei First Girls High, which is the green shirt. You know, even though sometimes you kind of wonder the taste of the color, but basically that's a lot of pride in that green color shirt, a lot of tradition.
甜甜，爸爸明天去东京出差哦。我跟慧玲讲过了，她每天都会来。可是，其他都要靠你自己的哦，好不好？
This is basically my first impression, the first time I went to Tokyo 20 years ago. And because these office buildings, those lights are always on, and it seems that the Japanese salary men, they called, they always work, and they're always in their offices. That was the first impression about Japan. So this is the first shot I wanted to include in my first attempt to portray my impression of Japan, which is quite amazing. All the lights were on all the time when it's dark, and I remember back then it was like, you know, after 5, a lot of buildings in Taipei or even in Seattle, the lights would be turned off after people got off from work.
I know you. You are his music. He changed your life, I know.
How do you know?
I met him only twice. I already know everything.
This is the lobby of one of the most famous hotels in Tokyo. It's the Okura Hotel in the center Tokyo, and we were very lucky to have the permission to shoot there.
Who says? I know. Don't worry, business later, no problem.
Really?
Really?
Where shall we go?
Hey, don't ask me. You are young people. Young people always find their own way. That's the best way.
Sometimes I think trains are a much more civilized way of transportation, and that's how Taipei was built. And earlier, when I was growing up, I remember taking the trains, and very much like what we're seeing here. And but somehow Taiwan has changed itself into more like a Southern California thing. They believe freeways and automobiles are the way to go for the future, and they took out all the railroad tracks and all the infrastructures the Japanese had built earlier. The city was first developed. So when I first went to Japan 20 years ago, this is the very I was so impressed by the railroad tracks and all the trains, because that, to me, that's part of my childhood. And it's still a pleasure to ride trains in Japan. You can just about go anywhere without even having to know how to drive or driver's license for that effect. That was me entering the elevator, by the way.
我叫落等你了，我甲伊拢也无声，伊是真爱囡仔啦。毋过一定拢出差，我捌一个咧厝就无聊。
Trains again, train stations. Basically, I think perhaps to all the viewers or all the audience, probably they don't know the what it meant to me. To me, railroad tracks, train stations. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of my childhood. It represents my childhood.
哎，你看，这样参选应该啊，公办要去新店迄个比较多。
有成，我已经无啊。我记我第一遍看你的手嘛，你变较多。你会记我视频顶看电影，过武昌街时阵坐火车来，然后甲你看到，嘛，咱怎无你想讲手是大下人？我想真故意啊，搁当看到你的手。
We used to have railroad crossings like this in Taipei, a lot of them. We had to wait for trains to pass. Now it's all cars and automobiles. In the background is the Warner Village, the most profitable cineplexes in Taiwan.
有一点严肃。
那你是比较喜欢喜剧，不喜欢悲剧咯？
不会啊，我只是不喜欢有人刻意把故事讲得那么悲惨。
可是，在现实生活里，悲伤的事和高兴的事都有啊，这样电影才有真实感嘛。要不然我们怎么会喜欢去看电影？
如果电影跟过生活一样，那谁还会想去看电影啊？过生活就好啦。
我觉得我小舅说的蛮有道理的。他说，电影发明了以后，人类的生命比起以前延长了至少3倍。
乱讲，怎么会？
我们在电影里面得到的生活经验，至少是我们自己的生活经验的 double 就对了。比如说杀人，我们没有人杀过人，可是我们都知道杀人是怎么一回事，而且有过好几次各种杀人的经验，这都是我们在电影里面得到的。
们又不会去杀人，生命是这么悲惨的话，那还有什么意思啊？而且我们好好对待别人，别人也不会对我们不好啊，干嘛还要去想那些杀人事情呢？
我只是用杀人来举一个例子而已，当然还有别的啦。比如他还说，没有一朵云，没有一棵树是不美丽的，所以人也应该这个样子。这句话我听了非常感动，改变我对很多事情的想法。
这句话你说出来还是好像悲剧，它应该听起来很美才对啊，对不对？
What Tintin just said, I think, is a lot of us as perhaps given films or literature or any forms of art that kind of responsibility that we have to portray the better side of life instead of the real side of it or the real sides of it, and to me they're the brighter sides and also they're the darker sides. Because of the existence of both, and it makes life much more interesting. That's why I think drama basically is defined simply as that. You just have to have both to work as leverage to bring out the interesting experiences. All these black and whites are intermingled, and that's how we make up pictures.
当时我也不告而别，其实我知影除了一大堆无路用的借口以外，我唔知当甲你讲啥。听说我话生气，你敢知？你是希望我去读电子系，去摕博士，但是你敢？ 问我讲，我心内真正要做的是啥物件
？Sometimes a shot, you have to, as a filmmaker, you have to decide whether it's an observation of the action or the action itself. For instance, this scene is much better perceived as a bystander, as you were sitting in the park and something's happening to people that are in the park with you, instead of you were right in the middle of a conversation.
是讲唱歌嘛好笑，我电机读了，即摆咧做的是你当初希望我做的代志。
So it's not really, a lot of times once you do that, you set up your camera at a distance and look at something as if you were the hidden observer. People start to think, oh, you're influenced by Ozu or some of the Japanese masters. I think it's all depends on the subject matter. Sometimes it's much better, much more comfortable, and much more informative if the viewer or if the audience is placed in such an objective position. And also, I think the acting of an actor, you don't really have to see them very close in. You just by the way they behave, like we were watching as they walk, you know they're relaxed, and you know they trust each other, you know that the conversation is intimate, and yet you're watching this from a distance. It's just you know this is happening in real life with the trees and the sunshine and the shadows and so forth. It's much more fuller when you observe it from a distance.
洋洋，洋洋，你在里面很久喽。洋洋，你在里面干什么？
In a lot of ways, when I think as we grow up or grow older, we gradually lose this kind of I would call it instinctive creativity because we begin to worry about the consequences. Whereas kids this age, it probably happened to all of us that we just felt we could learn something all by ourselves. And never even thought of the danger it might happen. That's the doorbell again.
我想问你，
什么？
If we understand the psychology between the two girls here, that would be enough to justify the silence, because basically the longer the silence, the tighter the tension. And basically, they don't have to argue or say a lot of things to each other. The silence actually said a lot. By the way, the guy who's playing piano was me. I didn't know how to play, but lady who's playing the cello is my wife. And I said, well, tomorrow morning I have to shoot a scene. Could you, bring your cello and play the cellist? And she said, well, at first she didn't want to, and then said, if you want me to play the cellist, you have to be the pianist. So I asked her to go through the music on the piano. So I taped it with my DV camera. So I practiced the way the hands moved. And so the next morning, because the concert hall is only available in the early mornings, so I was ready. I like the way Kelly had built this tension here to express just the right amount of suspicion she has on Fatty. And this shot is one of the things I enjoy doing. Is very much like because the idea of this shot is very much about the surrounding of the two characters. Brings our focus to the characters, the activities in the surroundings, and the activities here all happen naturally. And I always believe that there's a natural choreography in life. So I took this. Actually, it's very easy to act in this scene. and it's very few lines for the actress. But the interesting part is the activities around the surrounding of the scene. So this is one of the 10 takes I made on this shot, and I just took the best choreography of the cars and the motorcycles, and also the light changes in this shot. So that's the take I select. Especially at the end, there were 2 taxis that came by. This is the first one, and then the other one, and it looks like the lights are shine on the actors who are kissing each other. I work with quite a number of cinematographers. Christopher Doyle, which we did our first films together, and also other DPs. But the guys I always want to work with actually were the lighting guy. I think that we all followed what the Japanese has structured. So the lighting guy and the camera crew basically are separate units. This lighting guy I worked with, he's very good at working with different DPs, and he's very flexible, and also very he knows what I want from him, and also what I want from the cinematographer. So 3 of us will work very well together. And some of the lighting guys are simply not that, because they're less technical elements that they're required by the lighting guy than the camera crew. So a lot of them are not that well trained or not that well disciplined. And this lighting guy I've been very happy with the last 10 years. So always, whenever I make a film, and all the DPs, I like to work with him too. In many ways, sometimes if the psychology is portrayed or is understood by the viewers, a lot of times we really don't need the dialogues to express how the characters feel. And that's the room, or that's the time or space to give portraits or to contribute to the narratives by images, which was a good example earlier. And this town, Atami of Japan, is in the 60s is the hottest spot in Japan for young people, and now in a way it looks a lot like Cannes. It looks like the Croisette, and all the big hotels and used to be so popular. All the young lovers or newlyweds, they will vacation here. It was the hottest spot in the 60s. In Japan, and now it basically it's like a picture taken back then. Is everything just frozen in the time tunnel? And for instance, this escalator, which dates back to the 60s, it is still there. It's still operational, and the whole place is like the deserted town, which is really when comparing to its heyday, it's just such a story in itself.
所以，老师把第一次给我的话，以后不管怎样， 好像你都有理由可以骂我无情，对不对？
这也很难说了。不过那是你落跑，我真的以为你再也不爱我了。
你现在还会这样觉得吗？
This is a very emotionally demanding scene for both actors. And we did it in one, we have to do it in one night. And we did it when it got dark and all the way till morning. And it was pretty intense. I think we all, perhaps all have had this, we make love to each other because we love each other. You know, that kind of thing. If you don't make love to me, you don't love me. So that's basically what the scene is trying to convey. This is a scene to express that how young people feel at the time, but when you like the father in NJ when he was young, and sometimes that's a lot of pressure. You hope that you wish that there's a place you can hide. So that's basically what the scene is trying to convey. Also, it describes how NJ felt when he went, when he did the same thing with Sherry. I think if he can love her and not run away, he'll be lucky. And sometimes life is not that lucky, especially when there's another human being involved. There's so many issues that that's why I said it's not that easy to become committed to a marriage, so to speak, and a lot of times it doesn't work, and you have to face the fact, and you have to that it doesn't work, and no matter what the resolution will be, whether it's to stay on with the marriage or breaking up or what have you. Most importantly, I think it's very difficult for two individuals to share, especially life. It takes a lot of luck, a lot of blessings. And but morally, especially in Chinese society, it's so morally simple. It's like you just have to hang on to whatever you committed. Otherwise, you lied or you're not honest. You're a bad person. You have bad intentions. So there's all sorts of that kind of interpretation. I think a lot of that are unnecessary if we look at it from a more realistic angle. Yes. By watching Mr. Wu's tempo of his action and his touches, they look that he understands everything I asked him to do, which is, I feel very, very lucky that I cast the right actor. This is another visually interesting thing about trains, where you can, your vision basically penetrate many spaces inside the train itself, and then outside the train, the stations, the streets, the buildings outside, and the nightlife and so forth. It's just within such a short time of the shot, you get to see a lot, much more than just the duration of the shot. I think it makes life more just that much frustrating when you have to run away from love. When I think it's perhaps much worse than running away from terror, or running away from hate, and that's drama. That's life's. One of life's great mysteries. Why do we love? Why do we feel affected by another person? And you know that you two can't live together, or you can't. So all these things are. I think all these things are, because all these things are individual. That makes them so much more interesting, because each individual will react to it differently. Like right here, NJ reacts to it very, very differently from Sherry. That's why they can't share this wonderful thing. So that's the irony of the eternal irony, and you can make hundreds and thousands of stories out of. Actually, this is the first shot we notice about reflections and the different spaces it represents, and it's just, to me, just a very sensible thing to do, because it economizes on the setups, and also it brings more space into a shot, and it brings more imagination to the images, and
It is not so complicated.
it just works also well.
It is really very simple. Let me tell you a true story. One moment, please. あのさ、ねえ、トランプあったよね。ちょっと貸してくれる？
いいですけど、この店で賭け事だけはダメですよ。森田さんから叱られますから。
僕は賭け事なんかやらないじゃない。森田さんだって知ってるよ。
じゃあ何に使うんですか？
お酒2つ目？
はい。かしこまりました。
When I was a little boy, I wanna be magician. So one day, after watching magic show, I begged.
This is really how I feel about the fictional world and the non-fictional world. Sometimes the non-fictional world actually more magical than the fictional ones, because the fictional world, it really depends on how far your creativity can take you. Sometimes in real life, there's just so many amazing things. I have to go to something like sports. If before Michael Jordan's time, you would never dream that someone will slam dunk the ball that way. And after you've seen Michael did all those amazing things, now you're not as amazed when you see Vince Carter did even better things. So that's the kind of thing. I think in real life, if we're sensitive enough, there are enough inspirations there to make us think of even more wonderful things. And this is one of the things that just a small example. And I think in the future, especially when human has such a powerful tool like a computer, which can basically do a lot of thinking for man but we need to know how to use the tool the right way or the smart way, and then I think our life experience could be extended so many folds.
Old times. The top card is
Just like the young boy is saying about his uncle told him after man invented cinema, we live 3 times as long. I think now technology probably, if we use the technology correctly, we can extend our life experience of 10 times that much.
Hot 9.
Okay, what's the next?
Club 3.
Club 3? Jesus.
I have no magic to save your company.
That's what I mean. Actually, a lot of magic is in reality, which we simply have ignored or neglected.
But I think your partner want a magician.
I decide. I think they will.
Don't tell me now. Please.
Why?
Because you are a good man.
失礼します。賭け事は知ってないですよね。どっちが勝ちました？
急什么？我跟大人谈得不错哎。
谈什么不错？我跟黄总已经跟小田签约了啊，昨天就急着告诉你，你可以不必浪费时间了。
小田，怎么可能？黄董不是说那个？
黄董是最支持妇女保障名额的，你不是不知道。
搞半天小田还是个女的。
I'm glad there are mirrors in the room. Otherwise, the shot is pretty difficult, for such a tight space. So this way I can set the camera, just pan the camera, and because the reflections, I don't have to move the camera.
没有怎样，知道了。
燕姐，刚才怎么了？你不要生气嘛，我们的事情都解决了嘛，这是一个皆大欢喜的事，我们又没有对大田做什么承诺嘛，对吧？
你们这样哦，你们这很伤哎，你知不知道？
伤什么啊？
大田是个好人哎，我们怎么做人哎？
好什么人？你这个样怎么做生意嘛？
That lady is an actual worker at the Okura Hotel, and she's very calm. She's
nobody inside.
She's very professional.
Check out.
Please hold on. Let me check for you, sir. Mrs. Breitner checked out last night, and it looks like she did not leave any messages. Is there anything else I can help you with this morning, sir?
Thank you.
Sometimes the back side tells more about the front than the actual front side.
Hi. 好了，上去喽。等一下，等一下。
好，我飞机刚到，杯子哪里去了？找半天。
That's what I mean by the location, like the reflection, and also you see through the windows of different spaces and different activities in those spaces. It extended the shot much larger. NJ always listened to music. Sometimes listening to music is such a private thing that probably, and he just want to keep it to himself. It's like it's something he cannot explain to others. And sometimes he sings along. Yeah, this is what I mean by sometimes we live so much in our own world that we never thought of the danger our thoughts might bring us. And we all sort of just grew up that way.
子，我想跟你讲，没有关系的。如果你来找丽丽，不要因为我就这样子，我们还是朋友啊，我还是认为
你还是怎样？你还是很乐观，对不对？你少跟我废话了，你哪里懂啊？还在那边乱做梦。如果真跟你想的那样，你哪里会需要那些爱情浪漫故事来骗你自己啊？你走啊！你走啊！你不要管我了，你永远都不要管我了，你永远都不要来找我了。
I guess if we all believe the world should only be on the bright side, then we're probably all gonna be disappointed like Ting Ting is right now.
好像是婷婷回来了。
免得我又忘记了啊！几乎啊，
茶放这里哈。
欠你和姐姐的钱都在这里喽。
谢谢。那来给。
好的妈的！
哎，小 baby 叫什么名字啊？
说老朱这小子要翘头到大陆去，我赶快赶去他家一看，妈的条子
可是总觉得名字
到处都是，
取得不是
你知道吗
很吉利。
逼样价已经被
那
查
不报户
封了
口了吗？
我一看他妈不对，赶快找了一个条子看起来比较对盘的，
反正跟你就一样。
骗他说要买老朱这种法拍，结果进去，哗哗，人家就被人家翻空了，直接跟6人这样破烂。哎，好，我手看那块石头，他妈又抬头，是那些傻子暴发户，他妈看不懂，没人要你。
你怎么弄得这么湿啊？
Guess I have a lot of childhood memories, and I feel actually that those memories are very memorable. It's because I can trace it back and see how everything developed in my own head, comparing to what I was thinking back then, and how things has come about in myself.
天天窝在床上，没生病也都生病了。哎，我明天带你出去玩啊！我7点就来接你。哎，你不要啰嗦，反正我流年到，你跟着我就没错啊。这是什么？给我啊！哎，这是我哎，这我后脑勺哎。洋洋，你拍这个干嘛啊？
你自己看不到啊，我给你看啊。
原来是这样子。
Perhaps I'm more like the boy. In a lot of ways, I think that's creativity. It's about something we haven't seen or we haven't known, and it's always that half of unknown that makes life interesting.
我不要做什么坏事情。 为什么找不够你？难道你到现在都还不原谅我？你为什么到现在都还不醒过来？
I think in this case, Ting Ting's world has collapsed. What she feel the world should be bright and sunny and everything should be happy. Now basically it's all in ruins. So basically I think every one of us has the same experience here and there. So I really don't think a film about reality is it's all about cheerful things. Basically, reality is a lot of different things put together. And that's the doorbell again. After the second feature, I stopped doing storyboarding because storyboarding I felt was kind of restrictive to the people I work with. Even though my own thoughts would change, but after they've seen the storyboard, that's fixed. That for them they're just going to execute that frame. So it's a better way if we just let it open. Even the shooting is a way of writing, and also editing is also another way of writing. And there's so many. That's why I will always leave 30% to do when I'm shooting, because if I fix up everything and doing the actual writing of the script, and then you basically you limit yourself of the other possibilities. This basically echoes what Mr. Ota and NJ were talking about their business, but computers, computer games, and also echoes what Fatty the boy was saying about films. After movies invented, we live 3 times as long. That includes the violent part of it. In many ways, I think film is just it sometimes reflects directly what our life experiences. For instance, if we have noticed all the little details, subtle details of the characters of, for instance, here Tintin, if we understand how she feels, and she really doesn't need to say so much at the moment, because you have the understanding, the silence perhaps speaks more than whatever she had to say to express her feelings, because you know how she feels. It reminds me again of the discussions I always had with friends and my students about watching a film in the movie theater. It's probably the best place to watch a film because even though you share the space with 100 others, but it's a very, very private space. Whereas if you watch it at home, it's sometimes a phone ring or basically your own reality is interfering with the reality you're trying to experience.
现在，你原谅我了，我可以好好的睡了。 为什么这个世界和我们想的都不一样呢？你现在醒过来。
American women are strong because the laws and everything is protected their rights. Whereas in China, it's on the outside, male is a male dominant society, but actually the balance of power behind the scene actually is quite interesting. Actually, a lot of Chinese women, they actually run a lot of things, kind of behind the scene. So, for instance, well, from one statistics, like the Chinese women outlived men by almost 10 years. When you were in a Confucian society where seniority is respected, or is such an important thing in the society, then always you hear it's like the great grandmother is still alive. She's running everything, instead of the man who's the eldest man. So a lot of so behind the scenes, Chinese women actually is they're independent. They have their own ideas. They run a lot of things, and a lot of ways because of the Confucian structure and conformism. Everything is so, especially superficially demanded a lot of things. A lot of the facade were male occupied. Basically, they're just a shell in a lot of ways. So I didn't go for the Race of Red Lantern, that kind of stories, because I think that it plays to the common misunderstanding of Chinese women from other cultures. But basically, Chinese women are very, very strong and very strong-willed, and they basically, I had a lot of respect for them. Like my mother, she's 80 years old and she's still up and running, just like I had a lot of respect for them. Actually, as a writer or as an artist, we just have to be sensitive enough of lots of the feelings, not just women's feelings. I think for every different individual, I think it's just maybe it's just because our tendency of or sensitivity that we developed through the years. Basically, that was to me it was quite clear that everyone has that kind of that weakness or so basically I feel it's quite universal, and even men, I think, because maybe men will try to hide it better than women. So that's how I felt. I do my best to be sensitive about things that's happening around me, not just within me, and I like to share this compassion with all the people that I know or all the people I run into. That includes the audience that will have a chance to watch this film.
姐姐，婷婷。
我妈过世，刚才。今天下来。
这里还是老样子，小鬼都很乖，没什么需要担心的。 身上呢有什么不一样的吗？
很好。真是的，其实真的是没有什么不一样，好像。
I really enjoyed, like the way that Elaine has acted in this scene. She didn't try to project her dialogue, and it's like she's muttering to herself, and basically that would give us an impression of it's like we have felt how she's felt when she was away, and which was to me was his big advantage.
真的是没有那么复杂，哪有那么复杂？
对。我这样说好了，你不在的时候，有个机会去过了一段年轻时候的日子。本来以为说，我再活一次的话，也许会有什么不一样。结果。
In a lot of ways, I think a married couple sometimes very hard, even for a married couple, sometimes very difficult. The two individuals could share everything, and which is I consider very lucky if a married couple they actually share everything. And this is not about my interpretation of marriages. Basically, we just have to be lucky enough to find the other part if we decide to go that way. And this shot, actually, I think it says a lot about my feelings about marriages or relationship. You really need the kind of understanding in order to share a lot of things together. This is a very unusual funeral. It's not a typical Chinese funeral. But most of the time, Chinese tradition is a very extravagant in all the rituals. It's like to give to serve the whoever has passed away a better way to serve them and this is a very, very simple and this is actually the location is a school, and because Grandma used to be a teacher, and this is a very simple funeral comparing to the regular Chinese funerals.
这么多年了，这才是你对。哎，没想到又是白忙一场。 他妈那个小田，他妈抄都不会抄，人家街上哪个现在不会抄？那抄的东西能卖钱，不可能的嘛，对不对？哎，他妈的那个黄董他妈不简单的，他妈一点都不傻。没想到吧？他妈小田摇身一变，他妈变成他小老婆了，现在不用抄了，他妈天天坐在游泳池旁边，他妈摇摇腿晒晒太阳，他妈钞票就进来了，厉害哦！ 厉害！回来了，人家。
Actually, the location here is very near the opening scene, where the wedding ceremonies and the outdoors photo sessions. It's in one of the old universities. Had the a lot of simple and traditional architecture.
可不可以跟婆婆讲话？
可以啊，拍电话。
婆婆，对不起，不是我不喜欢跟你讲话，只是我觉得我能跟你讲的，你一定老早就知道了，不然你就不会每次都叫我听话。就像他们都说你走了，你也没有告诉我你去了哪里。所以，我觉得那一定是我们都知道的地方。婆婆，我不知道的事情太多了，所以你知道我以后想做什么吗？我要去告诉别人他们不知道的事情，给别人看他们看不到的东西。我想，这样一定天天都很好玩。说不定有一天我会发现你到底去了哪里，到时候我可不可以跟大家讲，叫大家一起过来看你呢？婆婆，我好想你，尤其是我看到那个还没有名字的小表弟，就会想起你常跟我说你老了。我很想跟他说，我觉得我也老了。
A lot of critics said this film about family or family in crisis, and I think it's much more simpler than that. It's basically just about a film about life that we look through the members of a family. Thank you so much for watching.